Demetrius Johnson, TJ Dillashaw, Anderson Silva, George St. Pierre. What do these UFC greats and heck, even me, all have in common? You'd be surprised. What's up, everybody? My name is JoseShortyTorres, and you're watching another episode of Inside Team Shorty, where I'll be talking about the reality, the truth, and everything behind the scenes of the sport of MMA. Now, like I was saying earlier, Demetrius Johnson, the best flyweight champion in UFC history. Heck, technically the best champion of all time. TJ Dillashaw, notably the best bantamweight ever. Anderson Silva, the king of kings. And George St. Pierre, the awesome good guy that beat everyone in front of him. Even myself. What do we all have in common? Yes, we might be fighters. Yes, we might have been champions or still are champions. But the crazy thing people don't see is we all have a loss. Every one of them has lost at least once. Most of them have lost a few more. The crazy thing is, and people again don't realize, is that those losses make you into the champion that you are. Just like everything in life, there are pros and there are cons. A loss is typically known as bad, which I'm never gonna say a loss is a good thing, but it can definitely make something into a huge positive. Demetrius Johnson took the few losses that he has, ended up growing and becoming the best athlete possible to be the best known UFC fighter to date. His stats are ridiculous. TJ Dillashaw losing to Dominic Cruz by a razor split decision. I've trained with TJ. That guy hates to lose. That motivated him so much to change up his whole training regimen, and now he's known as the best bantamweight ever. Anderson Silva, before he got to the UFC, did lose multiple times in different promotions, but that helped mold him and define his craft the way he did to be the multiple knockout submission champion that he was. His era was ridiculous. George St. Pierre learned from his loss with Matt Serra never to be overconfident and to keep on doing his thing the way he did, and he became a dominant champion because of it. Heck, even myself, I lost once in my amateur career, and that was my very first fight. For me, I was a cocky teenager thinking I can do whatever I want. Little I know, I fought a dominant champion in Andre Feliciano, kudos to you, and because of that loss, it made me swallow my pride. It humbled me, and after that, I didn't lose for 33 straight fights. I was able to be the first ever two-time IMUF world champion back-to-back, the first ever two weight division champion for Titan FC, to finally be introduced to the UFC, and for me to make it out of my neighborhood and inspire others. A loss sometimes is that push you need. I'm never going to say you should lose a fight, because trust me, losing, there are multiple setbacks. You can lose your championship, title contender spot, chance to get up the rankings, the chance to make more money, and honestly, the setbacks are endless. A win can do so much for you, but a loss can take away so much more. Now, there are the notable ones. Floyd Mayweather, Rocky Marciano, Pete Cunningham in kickboxing, all undefeated fighters and retired with a perfect record. That's amazing, but there's a reason why they call them the best ever of their generations. Because not many people can do it. So when I say to you, losing's okay, it's a 50-50 because it's bound to happen. But it depends on how you take it. There's a pro and con to everything. And if you don't learn from your mistakes, if you don't learn from that loss, you're going to keep on losing. But you need to take that negative and turn it into a positive. Losing is part of the sport. If you do anything long enough, it's all bound to happen. And in MMA, you can get knocked out, tapped out, beaten up, battered, bruised, lose by TKO, decision, or split decision. Anything can happen. Heck, you might even be the better man and still lose. A good example of that is Luke Rockhold versus Michael Bisping 2. But here are some different ways of what people have done when they finally lost. Conor McGregor. Everyone knows him for being on top of the world, but who brought his toes back to the floor? Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz was able to finish the notorious Conor McGregor by rear naked choke, ending his perfect record in the UFC. What did Conor do? He made no excuses. He goes, you know what? I can say this, I can say that. But at the end of the day, Nate Diaz still won. And phenomenal job to him. It's my job to go back in the gym, do what I need to do, and come out next time with the victory. And he did. Let's break down what he did. One of the biggest things was he focused more on training and less on social media, less in the press. He thought that was his flaw. He paid attention a lot more to himself than what the UFC needed. And because of that, he was able to get the win. Conor needed the humbling experience. Let's look at Anthony Pettis. Anthony Pettis was the lightweight champion of the UFC and slowly started to go on his downfall. Personally to me, I think those multiple losses messed him up mentally. It makes you doubt yourself. Makes you even think, do I want to do this anymore? Anxiety, depression come into play. All the haters eventually start to get in your head. You might know what you're able to do and what you're capable of, but sometimes those other thoughts in the back of your head start to lead up and creep to the front. Pettis was on a severe downfall after Max Holloway, but look at him now. Dominates Michael Chiesa. Now he's going to face Tony Ferguson for a title contender shot. Anthony Pettis' career has gone from WEC going down, then he became champion of WEC, then he became champion of the UFC, then he went back down. Now he's right there, back in that title contender shot. He knows what he can do, but it's all mental. And for Pettis, I believe he took the time properly to really prepare himself, to really find himself again, to be the champion that we all know he can and should be again. But some people aren't made to lose. They don't have the mental capacity to keep it. A lot of fighters break. More fighters break than others. A notable one is Ronda Rousey. One of the best in the world, high of the high, was on top of life. She broke the UFC barrier for women and became the first ever bantamweight champ, dominating everyone with literally every fight getting better and better. But then Holly Holm came into play. All the fans started talking about her stand-up skills, that you're not a stand-up fighter, Rousey. She's gonna beat you up, she's gonna outbox you, she's gonna kick you in the face. And I honestly believe that got to Rousey's head. She even called it on one of her late night interviews, saying the only chance Holly Holm has is kicking her in the face to knock her out. And I honestly believe that mentally got to her. As the fight slowly started to break down, showing that Holly was the better stand-up fighter, she started to break mentally. Given there could have been things in the camp that just might have not prepared her for the moment. But regardless of the fact, she wasn't there mentally, and she got knocked out clean the way she called it because of it. But after she lost, everyone on the bandwagon disappeared, just like Ronda Rousey. No one knew how she was mentally. And little did we all know, our champion was thinking about suicide. She was thinking about killing herself because that loss broke her down that much mentally. She admitted it on one of her TV interviews, coming out that that loss really affected her. She was on top of the world, and out of nowhere, she didn't go from rock bottom, she went all the way down to bikini bottom. She didn't know how to handle it, and she broke mentally. Given she found herself eventually and brought herself back up to fight Amanda Nunes, it didn't work out in her favor. She rethought everything and went, you know what? If I'm not champion, I don't want to be here anymore. So she retired, and now she's in the WWE, which, hey, kudos to you, you're making a lot of money, and that's awesome. But mentally, she's not made to lose, and she can't handle it. Again, you can take losing as a pro, like Conor McGregor and some fighters coming up, or let it be your downfall to eventually quit and or retire. Losing is a setback. It sucks. Trust me, it really, really does suck. And I'll get to that soon. But let's look at some notable setbacks. TJ Dillashaw, when he finally lost the split decision against Dominic Cruz, he was able to come back and dominate two fighters to eventually beat Cody Garbrandt to win the belt, and then again defend the belt against Cody Garbrandt, ending it in a faster and better fashion. I've trained with TJ. I know how he is losing. Even in practice, he wants to be the best of the best. So losing that split decision made him change to be the very best bantamweight ever. Miesha Tate, honestly, losing's part of the sport, and just like anything, if you play rock, paper, scissors, everyone has a kryptonite. For Miesha Tate, she knew that Ronda Rousey was her kryptonite, but that never let her stop her from trying. She kept on going. Rousey eventually lost the belt to Holly Holm. Miesha Tate saw the opportunity, even was losing the fight, but never gave up mentally. Was able to take down Holly, take her back, and choke her out to finally achieve what she wanted to achieve. Again, Amanda Nunes comes into play, and it just wasn't Miesha Tate's day. But for Miesha, she accomplished everything she wanted to accomplish. She had the belt and showed at least at one point in time that she was the best fighter in her division. And she created history. I think she retired at a great time. Towards the end of her career, she made all the money she wanted to, and she achieved everything she wanted. Again, losing can even make you rethink your career. Look at Michael Bisping. The guy has done everything in the UFC and holds multiple records. Wins the belt by an upset. Defends it. Eventually faces George St. Pierre, and in a close matchup, loses the belt. It happens. But he wanted to come back in, and I 100% believe that was pride to make him jump back in as fast as possible to fight Kevin Gastelum. Again, sadly it wasn't his day. But in that day, he thought, I've accomplished everything I wanted to. I was champion. I hold multiple records. And there's a bunch of new youngins coming in the sport, and I just lost to one of them. Do I want to keep on doing this and possibly never get the championship title again? So be it. I think my time is done. And honestly, I believe that was a great decision. But losing does make you rethink your career. Now remember, losing is part of the sport, but you have to enjoy the journey. But if you don't try, you're not going to get any step closer to the goal you want to achieve. Look at Cerrone. That guy is the most active fighter in UFC history. I think he fought 12 to 13 times in 1 year alone. Most fighters only do it 3 to 4. But him going in there, maybe never winning the title, but going in there and having fun, enjoying the journey while it lasts, because he knows the career won't last forever. Yes, he goes 50-50 in his fights, maybe 75-25, winning, losing, losing, and it goes back and forth. But he enjoys the journey every step of the way. He loves the sport, and that's why I say, have fun. But let's dig deep right now. Let me tell you about me. I sadly just lost against Alex Perez August 4th, a little over a month ago. I haven't lost since 2011 for 33 straight fights. I was on an undefeated streak on top of the world. And given Trust me, I can give multiple reasons why I lost the fight. And I truly do believe, no matter who was in front of me that day, I would have lost because I wasn't mentally there. But Alex Perez was able to exploit a lot of things that I believe I need to work on my game. And for me, I'm one of the kids that won't learn until it happens to me. I'm going to keep on touching the stove until I get burnt. And for me, I finally got burnt. Kudos to Alex Perez, and I would always love to redeem the loss. But just like Dominic Cruz, he lost his first fight to Uriah Faber and then came back to win 2 fights straight in very, very dominant fashions. But that loss, that one, will always be there. And that's how I'm taking it as well. I can face Alex Perez 10 times. But no matter what happens in those 10 fights, I can win every single one of them. That one will always be there. Now, I know I wasn't there mentally, and I really took a beating because of it. I took 107 shots. I'm glad I'm not completely stuttering and slurring my words, because trust me, I do regardless. But 107 shots to the head really does some damage. One of the biggest reasons I took from this fight was I really need to listen to my body. The reason why I lost was my pride. Again, I do say no matter who was in front of me, I believe I would have lost. It could have been Alex Perez, Demetrius Johnson, even my last opponent that I beat, Jared Brooks. And I'm not taking any credit away from Alex because he exploited everything and he performed an awesome game plan. But my pride is what lost the fight. I took 2 back-to-back fights, 9-day notice 26 pounds, 20-day notice 28 pounds, and I still took it, thinking my body could last for 15 minutes. But my weight cut in those 20 days were much harder than the weight cut in the 9 days. And you would think, wait, you had more time to lose around the same amount of weight. Why was it harder? I never gave myself a break. I had injuries and I had things that I was dealing with myself. But pridefully, I never want to deny a fight. I never want to tell the UFC no. And what I've learned in this one is you can. And hell, I definitely should. Trust me, I've been facing depression. I've been facing anxiety. I'm never going to tell you that I'm perfectly fine with a loss. Because honestly, I'm not. I'm still not training the way I want to. But I'm slowly progressing up because I want to do things properly this time. I don't want to overtrain my body and do the things I did in my last camps. Given my last 2 fights, I didn't have a camp, but I rushed everything. But for me and my body, patience is key. I needed the rest and I didn't take that. What I learned is swallow my pride. Take it slow. Train smart. I don't always have to kill myself. And if an opportunity comes and I'm just not ready, it's okay to say no. Again, I lost my very first amateur fight, and then after I won 33 straight fights, it was a humbling experience that I needed. I've been waiting for another loss, but not like this. I'd rather lose at my best knowing there was nothing I could have done compared to the way I lost, and go woulda, shoulda, coulda, full of regret, with nothing but anxiety and depression, literally closing my eyes thinking about what I could have done in the fight. Losing a fight sucks. It really does. But I need to take this negative and turn it into a positive, and that's what I'm doing right now. I don't know when I'm fighting again. I've already requested it, but I'm hoping for a full 2-month training camp to show the world what I really can do. If I have a full training camp, I 100% believe I can beat any fighter that they put me up against. But until then, I have to live with the anxiety, live with the depression, until I'm able to prove to the world what I can really do. That's what's going to make me feel better. But I have to accept that that loss will always be there. Again, losing is part of the sport and people handle it in different ways. Again, I personally know TJ hates losing in anything, but that's because he wants to be the best at everything. Some people quit. They lose, they don't want any part of it anymore. For me, I don't care if I lose. That's bound to happen. That's part of the sport and I accept it. But I'd rather lose at my best and know there was nothing I could have done than lose at my worst and always have a mind full of regret. Again, for me, I have no hard feelings against anyone I face. If they beat me or I beat them, I always like to say we're all after the same goal. It just so happens we're all in each other's way. And I do want to say this, if you know a fighter that lost, tell them to keep their head up and keep on doing what you're doing. You're going to get them next time. Don't try to coach them or give them advice if you're not their coach. We know what we did wrong. Heck, we were in there. We let it happen. So please, let it go. And that's just me personally saying that to all the fans and supporters. Let us do us, and we'll get back in there and prove ourselves. If we lose, so be it, we tried. But no, we're not giving up, and we appreciate the support, because I know I definitely do. And that's why I always do say, we can, we will, together we are Team Shorty. Fighters handle losses in many different ways. The biggest advice I can give the fighters coming up is, don't fear a loss. If you fear it, it will show in the cage, it will show in the ring, and you will lose. It will happen. Accept the reality of the sport and give it your all. If you lose giving it your all, so be it. Learn from those mistakes and it's going to make you that much better. But do not ever, ever let a loss hold you back. I know I'm definitely not letting this loss hold me back. And I'm going to keep on pushing forward to prove that. So again, keep your head up, keep swinging, keep trying, because your career is not going to last forever. So enjoy the journey while it lasts. You might not reach your goal, but you're going to be that much farther than where you originally started. Remember, we're all only human. Accept that and keep pushing forward. How do you take a loss? Have you lost before? Did I miss anything of what a loss can actually do to you? Do you know any stories? Please leave in the comments below. And again, if you like the video, like it, subscribe, hit the notifications button to know that I'll be posting every once or twice a week. And please follow all my social media platforms. Instagram, JoseShortyTorres, Twitter, ShortyTorres125, and Facebook, JoseShortyTorres with quotations around the word shorty. And please support TeamShorty.com, where 20% out of all the earnings go to the kids in my gym so they can train, travel, and stay off the streets. Everything is listed in the description below. I appreciate all the love and support. Again, we can, we will, together we are Team Shorty, and this was another episode of Inside Team Shorty. Until next time.
So